Hello, my loves. It's your girl Diamond, and I'm back with my very late but new review of Married to Medicine. I hope everyone had a great Christmas. Happy Christmas to all. I had a great Christmas as well. We're only a few days away from ending things off in 2025, and we're about to start 2026. So let's just get into it. We left things off at Brandy's birthday dinner, where Simone was talking about how she doesn't want to be married anymore. And Contessa said that people get divorced for all kinds of things. Okay, well, Contessa, let us know when your reason comes. And in her confessional, Simone said that Cecil has not had her back. And she has not felt happy in her marriage. She is very frustrated in her marriage. We can see that. And she would love to live in a high rise condo downtown. She's all dancing while saying that. And Jackie and Quad were really trying to convince her not to say things like that, and I really wasn't feeling it. I felt like, who are y'all to tell her what she shouldn't be saying? Because let's not forget, because a flashback did happen back in season 5 where Simone said that they separated and she filed for divorce. And then everybody pretty much spent the majority of the reunion convincing them that they should stick together. Around that time, they were married for 22 years or 21 years, and now it's been 8 years later and she's still in this space of not feeling happy. So Jackie to tell Simone that if she says things like that again, she'll pop her in her mouth. Who the hell are you to be telling her things like that, Jackie? Who are you? And for Quad to put out so much emphasis on how she shouldn't say things like that. She wants to be married to Cecil. She loves Cecil. Only because you love Cecil, Quad. I mean, you got mad at everybody else for not being on your side when it came down to you not wanting to be with Dr. G. So why are you giving her the same treatment she gave you? Doesn't make sense. And, Jackie says that Simone and divorce doesn't flow in the same sentence. I'm like, Jackie, are you listening to Simone? Like, listen, if somebody doesn't want to be married anymore, you have to hear them out. I mean, I'm not an advocate for marriages breaking up because I'm married myself. But if we see that Simone isn't happy, and if we have seen Simone hasn't been happy, then who are we to be like, go ahead and stay when we see that she doesn't want to stay? But I do think she should live separately. I think she deserves a complete break from all three of their ungrateful asses. You know what I'm saying? They've done it before, so it's not like she can't do it again. But then again, Simone, I'm wondering, are you going to even pursue that? Because you caved in and bought your son a Tesla and you're about to pay for law school. Like, where are the boundaries? Where are the conditions? I hope we get them. Like, oof, I don't even know. But, everything kind of went left when it came down to Brandy's dinner. And we're trying to reset, let it be about Brandy. This is her birthday. She had bottle girls coming out. She had a banner that says happy birthday. And Contessa is such a hater. She's saying, Brandy is so cute, but in her confessional, Brandy is new to the group. We kind of go hard in the paint, but I don't think we should be doing cartwheels or backflips for a dinner that might have cost a couple of $1,000s. But who's counting, Contessa? Nobody's counting how much the birthday costs other than you, because you want to brag about how you spent $40K on your own birthday, your first, might I add, but nobody else was doing it but you. You're mad that her husband thought so much of her to plan this dinner, and Scott didn't do shit for you. That's the only reason why you're mad. That's the only reason why you are projecting and downplaying what Brandy's husband did for her, because your husband didn't want to do nothing for your first birthday. So please, Contessa, get out of my face with this. So after that, Heavenly gives Simone a hug and tells her it's going to be okay and don't worry about it. My shit is worse than yours. But Heavenly feels like what she got going on with her son is something that she doesn't know how to deal with, because ever since she fussed at him, she hasn't seen him since. Simone said, you're going to find him. But Heavenly reveals to us that she was heartbroken when she discovered that he was arrested. And of course, the way that she responded, she reprimanded him. She said it wasn't right. And when it comes to her boys, the way she addresses them, reprimands them, it's completely different. Of course, she cusses them out. I believe that. But where is that philosophy when it comes to Damon? Why isn't Damon getting that same treatment? Because it was Damon who kept it from you. While, yes, you found out your son got arrested, it has been 2 years since he was arrested, but that still don't take away the fact that Heavenly was absolutely right in her feelings to fuss at him about it. But in the midst of that argument, he wasn't being disrespectful. He just packed his things and left. So I want to know, how do you go about reprimanding your children? Because if you said you treat your boys differently, then how do you treat Alora? And how come you don't treat Damon in that same factor? Because he is at fault for not telling you. as much as what your son did, your husband has that right to let you know what happened. So he was being disrespectful towards you by not telling you what happened with your son. And this is new for Heavenly to be vulnerable, because she never addresses anything about what she got going on in her life, because she presents it as if it's all perfect. She doesn't have these kind of problems, but we're seeing a little bit of crack. I feel like she has no choice but to, but I feel like it's still smoke and mirrors, because she's never going to be honest about it. So that's why I feel like you place Dave on such a high pedestal where you not reprimand him or anything, but you'll definitely cuss the shit out of your own sons. I don't know what's up with that. Then we got oh yeah, that was the end of that. That was the end of that scene. So now we have Toya and Eugene. They're having a walk in the park. Toya's talking about what the boys are doing now that school is over. They're sleeping into 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and she doesn't want them to waste the summer away. I can understand that. So we also discussed Eugene's job. He is off work for the next 6 days. There isn't anything lined up with the wellness job. And of course, just transitioning to what he wants to do. Obviously, he wants to still do wellness, but it's not making the same amount of money as him working in the ER. So we were continuing on with the idea of him renting an office from Scott and Contessa. Toya has been overseeing the progress. The office still isn't completed as far as anything else. And Contessa shows Toya where his office would be, and it's a small little space in the corner next to the bathroom, and it's the same size as the office he's already operating in. So it feels like there's no point in you transitioning from where you already are to this space, because this entire office or this entire building is meant for Contessa's greatness. Okay, it's not meant for anything else. So she doesn't want to share the greatness in you having a better office, which I don't disagree with Toya about. And it's not even completed. I mean, we even saw an in-between scene of them having more work done, and they're here in 2 weeks, but it's been 2 weeks for the last 2 months. So it's like, when will this entire building be done? Anyway, so just discussing what his plans are, we continue on with traveling far for work, because he wants to do the wellness job, but it's not making the same amount of money as him working in the ER. And now that he is traveling further for work, he's making more money and working less shifts. Obviously, when he was in town, he was making the same amount, but he was working more shift, which burns him out. But Toya still wants to know, why do you want to work so badly to the point where you are exhausted to take a job that's 5 hours away? And Eugene was not understanding how she could feel some type of way, because why would you still want to do that? Why would you want to drive further away, spend a week away from your family to work like this? It doesn't make any sense. Now, people were like really fussing at Toya for asking that question, and their answer was, because of you, Toya. He wants to work this hard because of you. You want to live this lavish lifestyle. You want to have all these Birkin bags and all these things and the third, and you're not understanding how hard he's trying to work to give you this. But I feel like it's not even just that. It's not him working this hard to appease Toya. Eugene is doing it as well, because Eugene loves to work like this. He loves to put himself into the ringer of being close to exhaustion to work, because he loves to work. He wants to provide. So of course, yes, it's not just reading off at Toya being materialistic, her wanting to live her life like the land of the rich and famous and living above her means. It's not even that, because they do live comfortably. But I feel like we can't just blame Toya for what Eugene wants to do, because this is what Eugene wants to do. Like, Eugene does what he's been wanting to do this entire time, which is to work. He wants to provide. He likes to provide. Like, there is nothing that Toya can say that can convince this man to do anything else he doesn't want to do, right? So from the perspective of her being a stay-at-home mom, it's like, I'm used to my husband laying next to me all the time. Now I have to deal with you being gone 5 days out the week, and I'm not used to that. And as much stress and pressure it is of being a stay-at-home mom, where you have to do everything, tend to everybody, I get that that can be a very lonely experience, because I'm a stay-at-home mom as well. I do go to school. I have experience of being by myself a lot with the kids while my husband is over the road. He's a truck driver. So I dealt with being away from my husband for months at a time. And now that he's transitioned to a more local job, I still feel that loneliness of him being gone throughout the week. So I can never fully guarantee when he does have a complete off day. The same with Toya. I'm pretty sure when Eugene was working closer to home, he still had odd hours. and he was still able to be home even for a couple hours. It was something she was used to. Now she's not used to him being gone so much. So I think there's not a lot of empathy and understanding for Toya for her to feel like this, because all I can hear is her saying, I miss my husband, but she's not saying it. Like, she's complaining about how much he's working, she's complaining about how far he's working, where it's not reading clearly of, why are you working so far? I don't like you working so far. I want you home with me. And I can get where Eugene is coming from, because you can't have your cake and eat it too. Like, y'all know y'all both want nice things. Y'all both love the home that y'all lived in. Y'all both love the lifestyle. Y'all both have work to get to. And y'all don't want to stop, which is completely understandable. Like, Eugene loves the money just as much as Toya loves the money. And you can't have your cake and eat it too. I can't provide the lifestyle that we both like if I don't go to work. And he says that the amount of hospitals he's worked at, there are in need of ER doctors. And he loves being an ER doctor. He loves the wellness job as well. And I feel like Toya's coming from a space of, they only have a few more years with their children. Their boys are getting older. She wants them to experience being with their father and be present for every memory that they will create. So I can understand how Toya is coming from, and I can understand where Eugene is coming from. But I just feel like we gotta just put that narrative to bed about how Toya doesn't appreciate Eugene. She doesn't love what he does. She doesn't love him. She's not attracted to him. We gotta just put that to bed, because that's not what this is, okay? But this is, again, another real conversation that a man has with his wife about his job, where we don't see any of that with any of the other wives. But moving on from there, we have Quad and King, okay? So this is another scene where she is continuing on with her IVF journey. She's getting her lab work done with Dr. Jackie. King, it's more apparent to me that he really doesn't want this with Quad, right? But when they met up with Jackie at her office, I don't know if it was off hours or it was an empty day, but there was nobody there but her and her ultrasound technician. I don't understand why she shut down her office for Quad and King. I don't get it. And when it came down to introducing King to the ultrasound technician, she pushed Quad out the way to give King a grand entrance into introducing him. Like, this is King, he's from Jamaica, like, you're from Jamaica. I was like, what is Jackie doing? Like, Jackie was flirting, in my opinion, and I feel like Jackie was trying to, like, not even trying, like, she literally was putting way too much on giving all this attention to King. And it's not even about King, it's about Quad. And, you know, she's doing all of the Quad's lab work while traveling to Ghana, keeping them up to date about what she needs to look for. We're looking at her ovaries, and she found a little cyst, but that's normal. Cysts are not a problem unless they become a problem. And in the midst of her talking about what the Ghana doctor wants her to look for, King is just going off of what he knows about the process. I think he says follicles, he says internal walls, and you gotta look at the walls. He was just talking, trying to sound smart, trying to sound educated, trying to sound like he's interested in what the process is about, when you didn't even want to be a part of this process. Just last episode, you said this was a bully you've been trying to miss. Like, what? And I didn't even like his statement about her walls, like trying to make it seem as if she has a huge hole in her vagina, like her vagina is not going to be tight again even after having children. Like, you don't know the female anatomy like you think you do, if assuming that once a baby is out of a woman's vagina, that's going to just stay open. It's not going to close. Like, the vagina doesn't heal itself, it doesn't close itself. Like, I don't understand King's process or thought process with the way he talks about Quad. It's weird as hell. And, you know, Quad ends up allowing King to do her hormone injection, and Jackie gives us updates about women who are approaching older in age and they're trying to have children. Eggs don't appear as much, and they have been shut down with wanting to have children as far as getting help. There have been a lot of medical clinics closing their doors on women who doesn't want to help them have children, and Jackie is trying to be that savior to say, I want to have hope for my friend. Okay, if you want to have hope for your friend, it feels like you don't think it's gonna work. That's what it feels like to me. But that was pretty much in this scene. I don't have nothing else for Quad and King. Like, their scenes are like not real to me. Their scenes are like cringy and awkward and embarrassing, because King says things that reads off he doesn't want this with Quad. I mean, he said it last episode, and in this episode he did way too much trying to compare, like he has a whole lot of problems with being with her. We're gonna get into that later. But moving on, we got Mimi and Steve. They are driving around talking about what their plans are for the summer. They want to put their kids in programs, right? Especially for their son. Their son is autistic. And when Both her son and her daughter are 18 months apart. He was diagnosed with autism at the age of 18 months. And they noticed it because he wasn't crawling like the rest of the babies. He was rolling. So they took him to a specialist, discovered that he's special needs, and they have been navigating on how to cope with that. So talking about giving him the opportunity of going to a special needs camp, which I find to be a very good idea. I think it's very cool. Now, when they were talking about what they wanted to do for the summer, we see him slap his sister in the arm and she starts crying. Steve immediately stops the car and the sister hits him back. They told them to apologize and they separated them because knowing that their son is special needs, having to talk to him about his struggles, about what he shouldn't be doing in a way where he can understand it, I know that can be extremely challenging. So when they stopped the car, Mimi got in the back seat and Steve was in the front with their daughter. They give us their feelings and their challenges that they've discovered with raising a special needs child, because you have to deal with a lot. You have to have proper conversations. It can strain your personal relationship. It can strain the relationship between your sibling, because knowing that Savannah is the younger sister, she has to also recognize that her brother is special needs. So the way that she would react shouldn't be the right way. But there is a certain line where you can't always cater to somebody with special needs, because they will learn the same way that other people will learn. You just have to go about it differently. So we see him asking for toys. Steve said, "You're not getting no toys. You lost a privilege because you hit your sister. And we talked about you hitting people for no reason. You can't do that." Shout out to Steve for that, because he wasn't trying to sympathize or cater to his son's problems. Like, this is something he should just do. It's okay. No, we're not passing off his actions as that's okay. That's just what it is. No, he's going to be reprimanded the way he's supposed to be reprimanded so he can learn. And when it comes to raising a special needs child, it's not a walk in the park. You got to have patience. You got to have understanding and wait for them to understand you so they can hear you, because I have members of my family that are special needs. And my son, he wasn't officially diagnosed when he was 5, but they felt like he was on the spectrum. But later down the line, I do feel like my son has ADHD, which means that his brain runs a mile a minute. He thinks of everything. He's very detail oriented. And he's super smart, but having to have different types of conversations for him to understand and get it has been a challenge, but it's also have been rewarding, because ever since we found out about that, he's been in special education from the time that he was 5, now that he's 9, and we've seen tremendous progress and growth in how he's communicating and how he's talking, and it's just been a very rewarding process. So I got emotional for Mimi and Steve in their confessional of having to deal with a lot while having a special needs child, because they don't get grace. Parents of special needs don't get grace at all, because it's a lot on them as well. They have to deal with how their kids are feeling. They have to understand how they can cope with them as well. So shout out to any parent raising a special needs child, and you're not alone, and the rewarding of seeing your child grow and become independent is a beautiful thing. So I have nothing against that. This was a very real, raw moment for Mimi and Steve. I feel what they're feeling, and shout out to y'all. Y'all doing the damn thing. Moving on. We now have Toya. This is her workday event where she wants to give her husband a break for all the work he's been doing, and also invite all of her friends to come over for a ditch day event. And Toya goes all out for her parties, so it's always a good time, right? But she's hesitant on the guest list because she wants everyone to have a good time and doesn't want no problems. And the reason why she feels some type of way about inviting everybody is because she's been judged so many times when it comes to be part of this group. And we've had flashbacks of everybody always counting how many times Toya has moved, talked about her tax problems, calling Toya lazy, she has no substance. It's just all that and then some. To me, was this party for you, Toya, to showcase to the ladies about how you still are worth it, you still are someone that could be included into the group? Or was this for Eugene? Because I feel like you want this to be about you, about how you can showcase yourself as being someone of importance, someone of stature and everything. But I feel like after 12 years, Toya needs to let go of how these ladies think of her, because at the end of the day, Toya, you are the most real and authentic person on this show. You have nothing else to prove to these ladies. All these ladies are going to do is just talk about the most frivolous things that you do, which is you talk to your husband crazy, you don't have a job, you live your life lavishly and carelessly without having to do anything, and they're mad about that. That's all I can say. So then we discussed the little beef she had with Heavenly, and she says she started it, okay, because it led to a Balenciaga purse being left at Brandy's birthday dinner. So she posted a picture in the group chat and asked everybody, whose fake ass purse is this? Typical Toya, okay? Gotta bring up labels. Heavenly responded and said, that's my purse, but at least my house is paid off. Okay, well, since Toya started off with the shade of how the purse was fake, Heavenly replied back with, at least I got my house and it's paid off. I'm in one house. But Eugene was like, it should be paid off. You've been in that house for damn near 35 years. It was built in 2002. I have to agree. Okay, I feel like Eugene will never not stick up for Toya. He's gonna always laugh at any joke about Toya because he loves Toya, he respects Toya. He is never going to not have her back, and I love that. So Toya responded with, let me go love my family that loves me in return. That was shade towards Heavenly because she's not in a good space with her son. Her son is gone, don't know where he's at. Heavenly replied back to, I'm between patients, but I have to say my man loves me and his dick is big. So you loving on some little shit that Eugene got. I said, fuck. Heavenly got her with that. But, you know, Toya, that's your bad. Why did you say that when you got married, you never thought that your husband's penis was not going to get any bigger? You should not have said that. But keep in mind, though, women can say things about their husbands when they want to, but that doesn't give you the license to say anything about their husbands as well, because I don't think that Heavenly would not appreciate anybody talking about Damon's little piece. I'm pretty sure she would be so pissed off if anybody ever was to mention anything about Damon. But I feel like Heavenly can do what you do, but you can't do it to her. Anyway, like Eugene said, this was the most silliest argument y'all ever had, and it was silly, but this is the game, okay? So they were preparing for the party. Everybody was headed towards the party. When we arrived, Toya wants everyone to be in a space of serenity. She wants it to be a little taste of Italy, and it is beautifully decked out. Toya's home is decorated beautifully. I keep telling y'all, Toya really needs to create some type of party planner company and interior design because she has a great eye for these things, okay? You know, having them presented with drinks and having a good time. So Simone arrives, and Simone don't think it's a skip work event. It's just an excuse for Toya to have a party because she doesn't work a 9 to 5. Well, Simone, aren't you about to head to that realm in a minute because you want to lead towards retirement, so you're going to be just in the same boat as Toya, living comfortably. But I feel like y'all really get mad about Toya having a soft life where she doesn't have to work as much as she needs to work, and she's educated. Like, she was a teacher, she was a pharmaceutical rep, and she pretty much stopped working because her husband made all the money, and she said, cool. Like, I don't understand how that could be something to look down on, that a husband wants to work, wants to provide for his wife where she doesn't have to work. Like, make that make sense. Moving on. Steve and Mimi, they go outside with their drinks. Mimi was about to sit down, but she takes one of the cocktail napkins and places it on one of Toya's lawn chairs to sit down. I was kind of with Toya about why would you want to sit on that little bitty ass napkin? Like, is my shit not clean? Like, this ain't Heavenly's house. Are you confused? Now, that was a bit much when she mentioned Heavenly's home, but it was hilarious for us to give us a flashback of Mariah saying that pressure wash this motherfucker. This house is all in contamination. But I mean, like, what was the point of putting the napkin down, Mimi? Like, if you were trying to protect your clothes from getting dirty, but you wasn't wearing anything white. Your sarong was like a cream color. Toya's lounge chairs was like a beige buff color. Did you not want to transfer any body oil on the couch or whatever it was you were wearing and didn't want to transfer onto the seat? But I feel like Dr. Mimi does things passive aggressively at times, where she has this air about her where she thinks she's better because she's a psychiatrist. She probably doesn't recognize it, but I feel like Dr. Mimi continuously has her psychiatrist hat on. Like, she always is ready to diagnose people without actually having a real honest moment or having an understanding without you trying to diagnose them. Because I feel like from the first episode, she was trying to course correct Toya into not engaging into back and forth arguments that Mimi wanted them to have, but she kept on saying, it's not on your time, Toya. Don't worry about it, Toya. But it's like, if it wasn't for Toya mentioning how they're being fake, we wouldn't be here. Like, I just had that feeling that Mimi thinks she's better than everybody, particularly she thinks she's better than Toya. So I wasn't really feeling that. And then Heavenly and Damon, they arrive. You know, Heavenly's talking about how this house is beautiful, it's grander than the last one. Bravo did their flashbacks about how many times Toya and Eugene have moved. But hey, it is what it is. And then the piece de la resistance that Toya gotta have in her party is a little bit of eye candy. She got half naked male waiters and half naked female waiters walking around presenting drinks, presenting food, and everybody besides Simone is upset of her having half naked women and men at her party. But I feel like, what's the problem? I don't get it. Can anybody explain to me what's the problem of having a bit of eye candy at your event? And this is something that Toya has done all the time. And Mimi's looking uncomfortable. Heavenly's looking uncomfortable. Jackie's looking uncomfortable. It's like, y'all some prude assholes. It's crazy to me. But I feel like this is a testament of how comfortable Toya and Eugene are with one another, that they don't find these things a problem. I wouldn't find this a problem. I would not be upset. Like, and I think that's where the little side conversations were happening about how can Eugene allow for his wife to have half naked men around, but he's like, where are the women? Like, Eugene was straight, he was cool. When the woman waitress came and presented them with drinks, he was chilling. Everybody else is like, ooh, what's going on? Like, I don't get it. But anyway, you know, Toya is, you know, being the hostess with the mostest, asking everybody, are they good? And she wants them to play a game because nobody else is comfortable with taking their shirts off besides King. And when we have our next couple trip, I want y'all to be active. Y'all can't take y'all shirts off. But Eugene didn't want to do it. So he created a joke where he was writing a doctor's note to excuse everybody for partaking into the event. And Toya felt like he was ignoring her. When she said eye contact, I need that husband and wifely attention, please. That's where everybody was like, whoa, Toya, whoa, 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 whoa. You don't talk to him like that. You allow her to talk to you like that. That was happening at the same time. And it's going to look like Toya is the problem for coming at her husband like that. And I feel like that's where the antagonizing came from, because she wanted him to help her with something and he decided not to help her. So she got irritated because it's like, why are you trying to switch up on me all of a sudden? You trying to be hard? Like she said, like, you know, I wanted your help to help the men partake in this game. So why are you making it seem as if I'm asking you too much when I'm not asking you too much? And you know, like, he was pretty much allowing everybody to make fun of her for asking to do the game, right? And she said, Eugene, can you please lead your men like you lead your household? Can you please be a leader? And everybody was like, no, Toya, don't do that. So it's like y'all giving her pushback for her saying that. And she said, how else am I supposed to get them to do something? How else? And Heavenly said, say daddy. Fuck out of here with that shit, Heavenly. You said daddy multiple times and Damon still did not tell you about your son getting arrested. So you sure that works? Can you address to him why this infamil in the cabinet? Like, what's going on here? That never does anything. Like, that's the whole thing about why they have a problem with Toya with the way she talks to Eugene, is because they want her to react like a regular housewife would. Just submit, be small, be meek, say, okay, daddy, yes, daddy, cater to your man. And that's not Toya. And that's what they don't have. They don't have a proper space in their marriage to be about their feelings, to speak how they feel, address what they want, address their concerns, and expect for their husband to accommodate and work on that. That's what they don't have. And that's what they're mad at Toya for not operating in that traditional housewife mentality. And then I feel like Mimi said, lead into your femininity or whatever. Like, bullshit. Get the fuck out of my face with that shit. So she's like, why aren't you trying to help me? He's like, you never said it in a nice way. She said, I've been asking you for the last 30 minutes. So I'm pretty sure I did say it. But he's like, listen, it is what it is. I'll set my ass here all day long. It's okay. So because she felt embarrassed that her husband wasn't there, that's when she went off and she walked away. And you see everybody else snickering and giggling of how Toya just came out her husband. Anila follows her. Mimi and Steve are giving their judgment over Toya's behavior, but Eugene is like, I've been dealing with this for 18 years. Like, I'll get over this. So I feel like Eugene knows how his wife is, and he knows that this isn't something that people need to make a big deal about because they'll get over this. It's not a big thing, but everybody was already reading too much into it, and they were already like asking him, is he okay? Is he cool? Curtis whispered something to King about this is what you got to deal with. King was like, this is the reason why I'm not going to live in no woman's home. Motherfucker, this not even about you. I don't know why you're adding your 2 cents in, because this isn't that kind of situation. Eugene and Toya are married. They've been married for 18 years. So as far as how you don't want to move into a woman's home because this is what it's going to be like, that's not their situation. Any home that they've lived in, they moved in together. They have created ways for them to get these homes together. This was a partnership. This isn't Eugene moving into Toya's home. This isn't that vice versa. Like, what the hell are you talking about? That's not what this is. So, King, get the fuck out of my face with that shit. Like, why? Can somebody explain to me why King wants someone to be like, yes, I get what you're saying. You should, be mindful about moving into another woman's home when that's not this. This is not that type of situation. Heavenly, she's talking her shit to Mimi like she always does. Quad was pretty much defending Toya by saying that's not that kind of situation. They're not gonna divorce. They're gonna stick together. They're gonna figure it out. And Toya was stressed out when it came down to this event. She wanted everybody to have a good time. Anila and Contessa were telling her to calm down. Everything is fine. Eugene came in, wanted to talk to her, pull her to the side. And she said, what you did was embarrassing to me. And he said, what you did was embarrassing. And he said, what the fuck you did was embarrassing. And she said, don't cuss at me because you don't want me to curse at you. I have asked you to be the leader and lead them in. But you took that personal. Why did you take that personal? But he calls her out by saying, well, the females took it personal too. The ladies took it personal as well. Toya said, well, fuck them bitches. I felt when Toya said that was like real, because she's like, I'm not doing this shit for them. This ain't about them. This is about what we got going on. So for you to care about how they feel when they don't even have real conversations with their husbands, they can't be themselves around their husbands. They be themselves when they're not around their husbands. You want to compare them to us? And I understood where she was coming from, because what Toya and Eugene have is more real and authentic than anybody else in their marriages, because that is a fact. Toya and Eugene are themselves when they're with each other and when they're not with each other. Toya wasn't lying when she said that. Now, of course, it's like, where's all this extra energy coming from? It's because Toya wanted everybody to pretty much welcome her into the circle. She wants to prove to these ladies that she can have a good time. She can plan a good event. She can live in a nice house, because she's been judged countless times being on this show. And she's tired of it. So they obviously did not fix it. She separates, goes upstairs, he goes back outside, and they're all wondering if Eugene is okay. Like, does he need help? Send a smoke screen, especially Steve and Mimi. Like, they're trying to like psychoanalyze him, and he caught it because they asked him, is this kind of thing normal between y'all? He said, don't try to psychoanalyze me. And this is the problem that I have with Mimi. And I feel like Steve is introducing himself in that kind of conversation, especially when it came down to all the men hanging out about trying to hold the other women accountable. Like, Steve, sit back. This is only your second time here. You don't have a right to speak on what should be said or what shouldn't be said. And Mimi and Steve, they've been through having that tick, 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 boom, 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 in your face, rah, rah energy in their relationship. And they've gone through couples counseling. They've gone over the hump. Okay, well, that's y'all's relationship. Y'all don't have the know all, be all, like, recipe into figuring out how to have proper arguments with your spouse, because that doesn't mean you guys are healed. That doesn't mean you guys have the answer on how to move forward from that, because every marriage is different. But you guys are reading way too much into how Eugene and Toya are arguing with each other, as if couples don't argue. You know what I'm saying? But then, sitting down with the rest of the people, Eugene acknowledges that he shouldn't have made a joke at the time when she was asking him to do something, because she has been stressed out with other things as well as planning this event and inviting everybody over. So I appreciate Eugene for recognizing that it wasn't just Toya doing too much. It was a reason why. And he added it to it, and he shouldn't have added to it. Hello, accountability. Loved it. And King, once again, just trying to compare that when he receives an apology from Quad, it comes with attitude. It's like he just been picking and picking and picking at everything that Quad has been doing for no reason whatsoever. It's like, do you even like this woman? Do you love this woman? Like, why do you look for a moment to embarrass her like this? Why do you look for a moment to shade her like this? And she said, listen, I do come to you when I have to apologize because I have recognized what I did. But you say that when I apologize, I'm a bitch? And he didn't answer. So it's like, what is it? Like, you're creating a narrative that you're living in a dangerous situation where she's always just rah-rah and everything. Like, it's just, ugh. Like, King is showing his true colors right now, and it's reading off as if he doesn't want to be in this situation with Quad. He's looking for a way out, and he wants everybody else to be on his side about how Quad is, and that's not right. That's not cool. Like, it's weird. Toya, Contessa, and Anila are in her closet with her cherry blossom tree, and she just want to have a good time. She want to play the game, but what she really wants is for Heavenly and Mimi to get out of her house. Because what I'm not going to do is, while I'm having an argument with my husband, I'm not going to deal with y'all having y'all 2 cents and egg on and having more of an issue, because that's not going to be what I'm on. Like, I'm not going to deal with you guys egging on, adding your 2 cents in while me and my husband are arguing. Like, that's not cool. Like, that's being messy, and I don't like that shit, okay? And she wants to start over from scratch, clear out all the negativity, so Mimi and Heavenly get the fuck out. And they're telling her how Eugene was apologetic, he was addressing what went wrong. And she said, okay, I gotta talk to my husband, because y'all know, y'all watch is like a TV show. While you're on a TV show, yes, but when you guys are watching a couple argue and you guys are adding your 2 cents in, egging it on, creating other kind of conversations about their marriage, is not cool. Y'all love to see other couples fight and have your own opinions about it, but you wouldn't want nobody else to dissect and interpret what you and your husband might have going on. If y'all was seen arguing in front of everybody, y'all wouldn't like that. So then we think that Toya's going to come down and access and do things differently, but no. She came down and made a huge announcement, said, hey everybody, if you're listening, I have an announcement. The people here who aren't my friends, I'm going to let you know this is not what's going to happen. Y'all not going to make it a thing between me and my husband, okay? Don't act like I don't have shit on y'all situation that I can talk about, because at the end of the day, me and my husband not perfect. Oh, we fucked up. Trust and believe, okay? But my husband was more concerned with what you hater bitches think. That's what he was upset about, okay? He took what y'all said and he felt the way about it, and that's not something that I like. Even though, Toya, you took what they said and you reacted to it. You were embarrassed by it. So you're placing everybody else at fault, even though the way you handled it wasn't right. You weren't wrong with how you were feeling, because I do think there were extra comments, extra side moments that wasn't necessary. And, you know, Heavenly, she just can never shut the fuck up. She got to keep talking. And like, why are you looking at me? Because it was you, it was Brandy, it was Mimi. All of y'all were laughing and giggling while I'm arguing with my husband. And I don't like that, okay? So she said, listen, I'm not going to deal with this, and I'm not drunk. I am not drunk. I'm just tired of this shit. Y'all not gonna act like y'all have my back. You smiling in my face, but you don't care about me as far as my marriage, okay? You don't. And that's pretty much the end of that. Like, people were looking at Toya's reaction like she did too much, like she was deflecting, but honestly, there was nothing else for nobody to say when her and Eugene were having their argument, because everybody was having their own conversations about what's going on between them, creating narratives that wasn't necessary. Just like y'all try to create a narrative at Contessa's party about Eugene working far and probably having something going on with one of the nurses. Wasn't right, wasn't cool. So yeah, I didn't like the, you know, asking Eugene multiple times, was he okay? Having me looking at Toya still talking, and it's like, please, like, don't call me out about what I did wrong with my husband, because you wouldn't like if I did it to you. So don't do that shit. We talk about our shit. We'll deal with our shit. And that was pretty much a cue for everyone to get out and leave. And Toya was crying. She said she's tired of being judged, tired of people assuming that our relationship is not so normal, because there have been narratives about people assuming that Toya don't love Eugene. Eugene is an abuse victim. He's working like a Hebrew slave, and that's not the case. Not at all whatsoever. And to put their marriage out there like their marriage is not normal is bullshit. Their marriage is more normal than everybody else's, because we're seeing the conversations. We're seeing the honesty and the transparency. We're seeing the raw moments. We don't see that in the other marriages. And she's tired of crying. She's tired of feeling like she doesn't do enough, because that's all they do is make Toya feel like she's not good enough. Like she isn't appreciating the hard work that Eugene does, as if she's not showcasing that. Listen, if she's not those types of wives that constantly dose on her husband, doesn't mean that she doesn't love him and honor him and respect him. Obviously, she puts him the head of the house because he provides for everything. But because she's not doting on him like y'all do, y'all gonna keep on building your husband's ego up and head up by always pointing out the things he does right, when y'all never want to actually have an honest conversation and pointing out the things he does wrong too. And that's where Toya is. Toya has a voice in her marriage. Toya talks about what she wants in her marriage, and she gets it. You guys don't get that. So, when Heavenly comes out and says, did I say something wrong? She says, yes, you say something sarcastic and I don't like it. You do it on the regular and I'm tired of it. Please stop. So when she leaves, she has a hard time leaving because she didn't want to break the door. Mimi leaves with her as well. She's asking Mimi, did they say anything wrong? She said, first of all, we're not going to say anything. Toya's not ready to receive what we got going on. And the way that Toya communicates is one-sided. So when you see people like that, you meet them where they are. Okay, Dr. Mimi, while you might have a point, but are you only going off about how you have heard about Toya, or you honestly are trying to hear what she's trying to say? Because I feel like Toya and Mimi, they miss each other. They don't really get where the other is coming from. They assume, they come to conclusion without really understanding. So that's where they have like a ships passing in the night kind of situation. It's not a beef or anything. It's just that they don't get each other. And I don't know if it's Mimi doing that because she's always ready to psychoanalyze somebody where it's not coming off real. I don't know. But Brandy stayed behind. And she ends up apologizing for what she said, and she did not want it to cause any issues in her and Eugene's marriage based off of what went down, because that's not what she wanted to say. And Toya appreciates her apology. She hugs her. Contessa feels like people are reading too much into a couple fight as if couples don't argue. Like that's a thing, right? And that's pretty much what Toya is upset about. Like, don't act as if you've never been in that type of situation where you've had a bad argument with your husband. And don't laugh at my face, act like you understand me, but then you talk like behind my back. That's not cool to me. Yes, people are saying, well, Toya does the same thing, but Toya is more empathetic. Toya is more understanding. While she says what she says, she's not ripping nobody to shreds like Heavenly does. You know what I'm saying? And she has a point when it comes to that, but Heavenly has a point as well. Like, this wasn't about Heavenly. This was about her being embarrassed in front of everybody with the way that she went off on her husband, and they were looking at her crazy. Yeah, and then they thought it connected to the beef they had earlier. It wasn't a beef. It was just a back and forth. It wasn't that deep. But when it comes to Heavenly says a lot of sarcastic things that are hurtful, and she's tired of it. From past seasons to now, and she's called out everybody of who Heavenly has talked the cast most shit about. She's talked about Cecil. She's talked about Curtis. She's talked about Quad being a hoe, messing around with married men and all that kind of stuff. So she was like, listen, don't let your guard down. Angel, you next. Brandy, you next. Like, Mimi, you might be next. There's no telling what she gonna do. So she was like, Heavenly is a snake, okay, that just likes to slither around. And when she's ready to bite, ready to attack, that's when you gotta chop her head off. And she said it's a dead argument that she doesn't want to have anymore. And I'm not upset at Toya because she has a right to come at Heavenly. Heavenly has talked the most shit about Toya, has made her feel like the lowest of the low, and Toya is done with it. While this might have been the time for her to address it, she wasn't wrong though. She wasn't wrong. She's just done with it, and she's calling it out anytime she sees it. Anytime she sees Heavenly about to come at her, she's ready on the rebound. She's ready every time. Whether people feel like it's not necessary, it's not that deep. It's like y'all never give Toya any grace when it comes to her fighting back, but y'all give Heavenly tons of grace for the way she comes at people where it's not reprimanded whatsoever. But that was pretty much the end of that episode. I did like it once again. Married to Medicine is picking up. It's gotten really, really good. I know we're not going to get a new episode this upcoming Sunday because we're still on winter break. I believe that the new episode is not going to appear until the first Sunday of the new year, but I can't wait. But y'all, that's it. That's all I have. Please stay tuned for my next video, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.